Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. This is Straight Facts Commentary where I give you my unpopular opinions in everything pop culture. So please stick around and subscribe for more. Hey y'all, I am back again with another video, and in today's video, you see the title, we're going to be speaking about Diddy and everything that's coming out about him, and also I have some thoughts about Young Miami. I'm bringing it back to Young Miami because I have some things I have to say about her. And anyway, we're gonna get in. We're gonna get into it. If you're interested in her, female rap, pop, conspiracy theories, trending topics, my popular opinions, whatever I feel like getting into for real, go on ahead and subscribe, and let's get into this video. Okay, y'all. So I'm sure at this point you've heard the news. And it is surprising, it is shocking, but it's also not at the same time given what he was being investigated for, but it's really disturbing. It's very disturbing. It has come out that, Diddy was arrested. Not only was he arrested, he was raided, and they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube in his house. The picture that's painting for me is disturbing. The picture in my mind that is being painted for me based on just that alone is disturbing. Like, girl, what? Is that necessary? Like, that's crazy. And even if everything was happening consensually, which I know a lot of things were not happening consensually, I'm saying even if it was consensual, some things that were happening, is that much lube and baby oil required? How much people are you doing it with? How many people are you doing it with? Even if it was consensual at any point for some of these people, that's a lot. Like, is that necessary? And I feel so bad for the victims of these people who were wrapped into these situations thinking they were probably just coming to Diddy's house because, they're artists or because they are people that Diddy likes, and then ends up getting coerced into these orgies, these parties with drugs. Oh, also narcotics, were found as well. I feel so bad for these people who are walking into this blindly, the people who had no idea what their night was about to become, or got slipped something, or got forced upon, or anything. I feel so bad for these people. Like, I just it's a lot. And putting all of this into perspective for me has made me think more about Young Miami, which I'm going to get into that in a second. But before I do, I'm going to read this little excerpt, of it that I found on Twitter. Okay, so it says law enforcement officials confiscated narcotics and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant from Diddy's homes in Miami and Los Angeles during the raids in March 2024. The narcotics and baby oil were used during his freak-off orgy sessions, which he forced women to join. So I heard a lot of people on social media were in an uproar because they were like, why is everybody saying freak-offs? Because that's what they were, and they were listed in the court documents as such. So this is coming straight from the documents. And a lot of people are upset because they're like, well, a lot of these people who were involved in these orgies were forced. They were victims. Yes, a lot of them were victims, but there were some people who, we have to remember, were willingly participating in this as well. People who were a part of hurting others. So I feel like it was a mixture. It was like a mixture of people who were unwilling victims, people who were coerced, and there were people also who were a part of it willingly, who came to Diddy's house knowing what was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it was a mix, and that's why it was probably called a freak off, because there were people there who wanted to do it, and there were people there who didn't. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Anyway, the reason why I made this video isn't really necessarily to talk about Diddy as much. I kind of wanted to bring it up so that you know the context of which this conversation is coming from for me. But it's connecting back to Young Miami for me. Something isn't right. I just have this feeling in my spirit. Something's not right. So we all know that Young Miami was in a relationship with Diddy right before he was being investigated, right before he started getting raided, right before the truth started to be uncovered, right before victims started coming out, right? In a relationship, I use very loosely. I mean, a situationship, a relationship, whether they were serious, whether they were just messing around, whether it was a friends with benefits, whatever it was, they were in a form of a relationship right before all of this went down. And if they were so closely knit and she was at his house, he was at her house, they're hanging out, they're driving around, they're going on vacation, they're doing all these things together, acting as a couple. They're posting on social media. She's posting him on social media all the time. She's going to shows. She's rooting for him. She's talking about him. She's celebrating him. I don't understand. It just doesn't sit right with me how she could have not known about this. Then it comes out about the raid and everything that was found in his house. So you mean to tell me that many bottles of lube, that many bottles of baby oil, and you had no idea that none of this was going on? And Young Miami had no idea. She had no idea about any victims. She had no idea about any parties that were happening. But she was his girl at the time. She was with him. She was actively in a relationship with him at the time. So you're trying to tell me that he's having these parties and Young Miami's not there? You're trying to tell me he's having these parties and Young Miami didn't know about them? Or she happened not to be at the house those days that he was having the parties? Because they were happening at his place. Okay? They could have been happening at other, locations too. But they found the stuff for the parties at his house. So you're trying to tell me that every single one of these times that any of this stuff has happened over the years and, during the course of their relationship, even, that she just happened to not be there every time or she wasn't a part of it? And the reason why I'm saying that is because that was his girl at the time. That was the person he was publicly with. Why would she somehow be shielded from that? Why would she somehow be the only person who wasn't a part of it or didn't know about it? So my connection is either Young Miami was a victim and she doesn't realize it, because sometimes when you're a victim of something, you don't realize it until after you look back and you're like, oh crap, that was effed up. That happened a lot of stuff. A lot of things in my childhood and a lot of things in my early adulthood happened to me that way, where I didn't realize that I was a victim of something until I looked back on it even years later to look and be like, okay, I was a part of this, this, and this. And I didn't even realize how that wasn't okay. I didn't even realize how I was being victimized, or how I was being mistreated, or XYZ. So either she has that kind of Stockholm syndrome to where she doesn't realize that she was a victim herself, or she was an active participant, allegedly, in all of this, along with Diddy. It's one of the two. It's either she's a victim, or she was an active participant in the bullcrap, fully aware, fully knowing what she was doing, and totally into it, and totally allegedly. There's no in between there, because there's no way that she couldn't have known, being with him for as long as she was with him. And there's no way the girl that Diddy is with, in a relationship with, some form of relationship with, isn't doing stuff. What? How would she get away with not doing anything with people or being a part of these parties and these weird situations if that's your girl? No. And it's just making me think like something's not right. And amidst all of this, she's getting ready to start up Carisha Please again. There's a lot of unanswered questions. She grazed past everything when she addressed, Diddy. She didn't really address it. She just basically said, I'm not a victim. Anything that could have happened between him and other people, that has nothing to do with me. And Diddy didn't hurt me, so I don't know anything. But that can't suffice. When stuff like this is coming out, that answer is not really, that's a cop-out answer. That's not a real answer. What do you mean you don't know anything? You were with him. You had to have seen something. You had to have heard something. I mean, I think she's just being quiet because she's seen and heard and been a part of too much to speak. Simple. She can't speak without exposing herself or someone else. Or without her coming out as a victim herself of something. That's how it sounds to me. There really doesn't seem like any other logical answer to this. So, I don't know. That was just weighing on my mind after hearing this all come out. I'm like, oh, something's not right. Something's not right. And maybe y'all don't agree. Maybe some people are not going to agree with that. But girl, I had to get that off. Something's just not right. But one thing about the truth, you know, it always comes out. Something's going to come out. Something's going to come out. Somebody's going to have heard something, said something, seen something. With all of these people. You know what I'm saying? Diddy, Young Miami, any of these upper echelon people that people think aren't involved in weird stuff. Please. It's all coming. It's coming out. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. I was just thinking about Young Miami. Anybody else is thinking about her? I've just been thinking about that. Like, I don't know. But that's really it. Hope Diddy gets what he deserves. He's trying to say he's not guilty, which of course he's going to do that. R. Kelly did the same thing. He was saying that he wasn't guilty for a while too. So y'all let me know what y'all thoughts are on this. And that's it. I love y'all. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.